Hey everybody, welcome back to another many years late Warhammer Fantasy Battles RA books reviews. Today, it's the Empire, and we're 11 years late. Now, Cullen couldn't be here. He was incredibly busy. The guy works like crazy, so we'll try to get by without him. Now, we're going to do a couple of preamble things. One, I'm using a new capture card on my camcorder here to record this, and it has not been tested yet. So hopefully there are no shuddering issues. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to say that. It has been tested. I think it's an inferior card. I need to return it. No, well, I'm going to keep it. But I'm going to buy a new one and get a better one. However, it tends to overheat and start shuddering. So hopefully this doesn't happen throughout this video. But I don't think video is all that important in this type of review anyway. I got nothing to show you. Secondly, we're going to talk about this book from a competitive standpoint in Warhammer 8th edition. So if you compare it to other editions or even tournament comps, it's not going to apply to anything I say, because the second you add a tournament comp, it changes my opinions on a lot of units and characters. And then lastly, I'm going to point out the word competitive means different things to different people. So when I say competitive, I'm talking about two players trying to play Warhammer Fantasy Battles. They're both trying to make a good list, and they're both trying to win, but they're not making tournament lists as a whole separate thing. But all the tournaments were comps, so there's a whole separate angle there. So let's get into Warhammer the Empire. So this is like your standard mid-line compare everything to army, though you could argue Empire sits on the lower tier of Warhammer Fantasy Battles power level. So clearly the Tomb Kings and the Beasts of Chaos, or Beastmen at the time, are significantly worse. Those are the bottom tier. I want to put Empire in mid tier, but weirdly, I feel like Warhammer Fantasies has high tier armies, the couple of low tier armies, and then everything else in mid tier. So I feel this Empire book is mid tier. But like, if you have to start stacking them, I don't know if I'm accurate here. I'd put them at the bottom of just the other armies that I would consider mid tier. But maybe not. I put Bretonnia mid tier. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. So this army can play up, and it has a harder time playing up than say high elves or ogres, right? But it absolutely can play down. But it doesn't have an as easy time playing down as say the Beast of Chaos. That's a better way of explaining it. Okay, so army special rules in this book. We have regimental units and detachments. This is it's literally an entire page of rules. I'm going to give you the gist of it. So basically, ever since the beginning, well, ever since I've been playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles, Empire had these detachment special rules. Basically, you have a certain number of units that can be parent units. That's pretty much all their infantry except for militia. Basically, you take a parent unit, your basic infantry, and you can purchase detachments of up to like half the size of the parent unit. That has to deploy and stay within 3 inches of the parent unit, but it gains some options. Basically, missile detachments can stand and shoot for the parent unit, and then like melee detachments can countercharge for the parent unit. When detachments flee, they don't cause panic, which is a pretty good thing. And I believe there's in battle regimental units. Those are the parent units. Sorry, I call them parent units. I think that's what they used to be called. They're called the regimental units. Regimental units provide leadership to their detachments. As long as the regimental unit is not fleeing and the detachments have at least one model within 3 of the regimental unit, uses leadership. Unless yours is higher, obviously. Regimental units and detachments fight so closely together that they are affected by the same battlefield psychology if the regimental unit has any of the special rules listed below. They confer the same special rules to all their detachments while they have at least one model within 3. So frenzy, hatred, hold the line, immune psychology, stubborn, and steadfast stupidity. Now, the only problem I see with this is in the theory or the play style of 8th edition, it's going to be harder to maneuver this. Basically, we'll get to the units, but if you want to play well with Empire, you're pretty much using a couple of hordes of halberdiers and then a bunch of support things. You don't really fit with the detachments too well. So my opinion on detachments are cool, have fun with them, but I don't think they're that necessary the way 8th edition is currently played. That being said, I mean, you can master anything and do well with it, right? We have a very large Imperial armory. We have mechanical steeds. These are horses that are mechanical. Strength and toughness 4. You roll d6 at the start of each mechanical steed's movement phase. On a 2 to 6, it's unaffected. On a 1, starts to break down and you remove d3 movement. Okay, one model in the army can take it, so it's not that big a deal. You have full plate armor, a 1 step up from everybody else's heavy armor. So full plate armor gives you 4 armor save. It's one of their best boons. We have the grenade launching blunderbuss. It's a range 18, strength 6, armor piercing, soda fire, and move to fire weapon. You have the Hawkman long rifle, a 36-inch range handgun with soda fire, sniper, and move to fire, and armor piercing, obviously. Repeater handguns, just multiple shot 3 handguns. Repeater pistols, multiple shot 3 pistols. So it's all about guns in this book here. Okay, so let's get on to the actual units, and we'll talk about not special characters. We'll go over magic items, and I guess there's no lore to talk about in this book. So, Commander of the Empire, we have the General of the Empire and the Captain of the Empire. These are your Lord and Hero level human martial characters. Except for the both only have weapon skill 5 and ballistic skill 5. And 3 attacks each for the pair. Like, both of them are 3 attacks each. These things, the General of the Empire is supposed to be a leader of men, not a martial beatstick. But they do come with a hold the line special rule. Unit rolls 3d6 for break tests using the lowest 2, which is that alone is really, really good. And I'm going to check points. Now, these guys can't be that expensive on points. We're looking at 95 points base for the General of the Empire. Not bad. I mean, standard equipment loadouts. You can be on a Griffin, a Pegasus, a Barded Horse, handgun, longbow, pistol, great weapon, lance, typical stuff. Full plate armor costs you 9 points. Otherwise, points are exactly what you expect. 4 points for heavy armor, 2 for light. Captain of the Empire is going to cost you 60 points. He's going to be a mainstay. You know, upgrade him to be a battle standard bearer because we're talking 8th edition here. So you have to have a battle standard bearer. Next we have battle wizards. Human stat lines. The 2 wounds on the hero, 3 wounds on the lord, typical. Toughness 4 on the lord, leadership 8 on the lord. The battle wizard can use any of the lords of magic from the rulebook, all 8 of them, which is good. But nothing special. You're just your generic run-of-the-mill wizard. Lords that work well, there's a bunch of lords that work well with the Empire, but actually all of them do, one way or another. You can work with your theme, right? But we can talk about that a little bit later. Okay, what's next? We have the Imperial Zoo. Imperial Griffins, Imperial Dragons. That's just for, what's his name? Karl Franz. Pegasus. Typical monster stuff. Actually, no, the Imperial Griffin is a little bit better than your average Griffin. You're bigger. Movement 6, weapon skill 5, strength 6, toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 4, 4 attacks, leadership 7, and you can buy a Blood Roar upgrade for it. You roll additional d6 caused by its fear and terror tests. And it's the lowest. And then you can buy a 2-head upgrade, and you have 2 heads on your Griffin. You gain an additional chomp attack. Cool. It looks cool, but I don't know how necessary it is. Okay, moving on to Master Engineers. Just going in order of the book here. So, Empire is very much an artillery army, or can be, and it most often is. So you can buy these Master Engineers, which just have basic human stats, except they have an additional wound, an additional ballistic skill. The special rules for the Master Engineer are Master of Ballistics. If the engineer is not fleeing, a single war machine within 3 of them may use his ballistic skill. And then stand back, so Master Engineer gets a lookout, sir, while within 3 of a war machine. Not bad. Now, what are you paying for points? Oh, wait, no, there's more to the ballistic skill thing. You also reroll a single artillery die, obviously, I forgot about that. Which makes these guys really, really good. Now, we're looking at points for them. They're going to be a hero level character. Where are you? Where are you? Master Engineer, 65 points to make your war machines more reliable. Rerolling the artillery die for cannon. It might not be worth it for cannon when we get to talking about cannons, but if you're gonna bring yourself a organ, no, what's it called in this game, in this army? The Hellblaster Volley gun. You might want to consider yourself a Master Engineer. So just keep in mind what I said about the Master Engineer when I start talking about war machines. Next, we got Warrior Priests. Okay, I love these guys. They're kind of cool. The models are amazing. Okay, so an Archlector is a Lord level Warrior Priest. Stats are 4 across the board, except for 3 wounds and 2 attacks. Leadership 9. They can channel Dispel dice just like wizards. Not that useful, but you know, the more dice you throw, the more dice you're going to get eventually, right? Let's check out points on Archlector. Archlector starts off at 100 points and gets you that leadership 9. You don't get hold the line, hold the line, but you gain a bunch of other things like battle prayers, divine power, righteous fury, and the ability to ride on a war altar of Sigmar, which I think are amazing. Okay, so when a priest joins a unit, he gives hatred to that unit, which is awesome. And you know 3 prayers bound level 3 that you can cast. As you cast a prayer, any detachments within 3 of a parent unit that are affected by get affected by it too. Okay, so you have Hammer of Sigmar. You can reroll failed to wound. That's amazing. Shield of Faith, you get a 5 board save in close combat. And Soulfire, this one's not that great. The Warrior Priest and his unit gain the Flaming Attack special rule. That could be situational. In addition, when cast, all enemy models in base contact with a Warrior Priest suffer a Strength 4 hit. And then Undead and Demonic take a Strength 5 hit with no armor saves allowed. Not too bad for these things. They provide decent leadership, and they provide hatred, which really helps your army. And they provide your battle prayers. You really want to get that Hammer Sigmar off like a horde of Halberdiers or whatever. Going to add you a lot of support, a lot of punch. When they're giving their buffs to a unit, they greatly increase in effectiveness, and they're well worth 100 points. Or what's the hero level version costume? Where it's 65 points for the hero level version. Witch Hunters are another special character you can use. They're hero level characters. Human stats across the board. Actually, no. Well, okay. You know, movement 4, weapon skill 4, strength and toughness 4. 2 wounds, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 8. They have a built-in magic resistance 2. And then they have a couple rules: accusation, grim resolve, and tools of judgment. So after deployment, before the first turn begins, select a single model in your opponent's army to accuse of heresy. This is the Witch Hunter's primary quarry. The Witch Hunter may reveal all failed to hit rolls against the primary quarry. That's it. Every hit he inflicts on the model also has a killing blow special roll, even if they were from shooting. And finally, the Witch Hunter may shoot at his quarry as if he had the sniper special roll. Okay, he only has 2 attacks, though. How many points are we talking about here? 50 points. Okay. Take 50 points for the magic weapons. Be armed with a great weapon. And can be armed with a brace of pistols. So if you get within 12, this guy may be able to snipe out a character. He's only 50 points. Like, the magic resistance is almost worth that by itself, right? You have Grim Resolve. Witch Hunters automatically pass any leadership test caused by fear they're required to take. Note that they will be unaffected even if the unit they are fails a test. In addition, Witch Hunters and any unit they are in treat terror-causing creatures as, fear-causing instead. Just as they themselves cause fear. They do not automatically pass the leadership test. Interesting. Okay. And then Tools of Judgment. When attacking wizards or models with the undead, Necroheart undead, or demonic special rules in close combat, the Witch Hunter rerolls fail to wound. Kind of cool. Basically, he helps against certain armies. But for 50 points, you get magic resistance 2. You buy a brace of pistols, maybe a great weapon, and see if you can like kill off a character before combat. Yeah, I mean, a solid character for cheap points. But by no means necessary to auto-include. I feel like we're missing like one more thing. I don't know if I want to go Because next thing is popping up is our troop choices, but I know we missed something. All right, we'll go in the order the book is taking me in. So we're going to talk about our core troops, our state troops. You can have. Oh man. Okay. I think it's best if I take this from this part of the book. It's probably easier to explain. I know we're passing over a certain character already, like the Grand Master, but we'll get to him. Okay, core units. We have Halberdiers for 6 points. They come with a halberd and light armor. Human stats. So, human stats, movement 4. 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 3, 1, 7. 1 attack, initiative 3, strength 3, leadership 7. And may take detachments. Okay, so 6 points a model. A horde's gonna cost you what? 120, 240? Is that no? That seems high. 60 for 10? No? Yeah. All right, so a whole horde, 40 halberdiers, 240 points, another 30 points for your command, 270 points, a lot of strength 4 attacks. But, you know, where it really shines is when you get some support, whether with some war machines in a second, like the chariots, but just putting that warrior priest, which I think is just necessary in this unit, gives them hatred, another reroll to hit. And then if they get that power off of Hammer or Sigmar, now they're rerolling to wound. Now you're getting work done. You can take Spearman at 5 points a model, so 1 point less, otherwise the same as the Halberdiers. So you want an extra rank of attacks when you are charged, or do you want the extra strength? I think you always want that extra strength. So Spearmen don't see a whole lot of value or much use in 8th edition. Swordsmen, however, are 7 points a model, 2 points more than a Spearman, 1 point more than a Halberdier, but they're going to get you weapon skill 4. How important is weapon skill 4? I don't know. They come with light armor and shield, so you have a better save, and a parry. So they're a little bit more resilient, especially with the weapon skill 4. I can see swordsmen being used. 1 point more than Halberdier. You lose that strength. You gain resilience. So far, Halberdiers seem to be my favorite here. I'm going to take 2 big hordes of Halberdiers with warrior priests or archlectors in them. And then we have crossbowmen at 9 points a model. Just your standard human stat line with a crossbow. Crossbow is a solid weapon. Or you can have same 9 points to give them a handgun instead. So handgunners, 9 points. Handgun is 24-inch range, strength 4, armor piercing. A crossbow is 30-inch range, strength 4, not armor piercing. Both have their uses. I think in my opinion, I think crossbows I would rather have, unless I know what I'm going against, in which case I think I'm tailoring, because I'm going up against another Empire army, or another army, like even dwarves, high armor army, like the Warriors of Chaos, another one. These armies want to come to you, so they're going to come to you 24-inch range, so handgunners are better against certain armies. If you get into a gunfight, the crossbow's better. So maybe the handgun is generally better, because you're gonna be so front loaded on missile weapons that maybe turn 1 you don't get much shooting done. The rest of your game is spent slowing down the enemy and whittling them down. You can take archers for 7 points a model. They just have a bow and they skirmish. They have also fantastic uses because of skirmish, but it's a bow, not a longbow. Look at that 24-inch range. And then Free Company Militia, 6 points. They may not be a regimental. They can't be a parent unit or a regimental unit, only detachment. Human stats, but they have 2 hand weapons, so additional attack. Not a bad bit if you're playing MSU as a detachment to countercharge and get a bunch of attacks. And then we have knightly orders that are core. Okay, so these things have human stats. Human stats, except for their weapon skill 4 and leadership 8. They are cav with a lance, full plate armor, and a barded steed. So you have a 1-up armor save and strength 5 on the charge. And it's core. Like, you can make, like, that's one of the great things about Empire. No matter what you do, no matter what playstyle you want, you can probably theme into it. You may not be the best at it, but you can do many different playstyles. So you can have nothing but cav, which is not a great idea in 8th edition, but if you wanted to, you have the knightly orders in core. Moving over to a special, you can also, well, the knightly orders. Interesting. I thought. Oh, you know what? I was about to give some bad information. I was incorrect. Okay, so 1 unit can upgrade to Inner Circle at 3 points per model. And an Inner Circle Knight gets +1 strength, giving them strength 4 base. I would always do your one unit. If you only have one, always upgrade an Inner Circle. That +1 strength is huge. Strength 6 in the charge, strength 4 otherwise. I was thinking that when you upgrade them to Inner Circle, they become special. They don't. They stay core. And Inner Circle Knights can have a magic banner worth 50 points, which is often worth it. Over on special units, we have the Great Swords. These guys, human stats with weapon skill 4 and leadership 8, 11 points per model. They have great weapons and full plate armor. And they're stubborn, so a solid troop choice. Now, 11 points per model is a little more expensive than your other things, obviously, but for an elite infantry, that's not that bad. I think they're well costed. Like, they're not too expensive, but they're not too cheap either. So yeah, stubborn leadership 8 can really do some work. Get a character in there, give them stubborn leadership 8 or leadership 9 with a captain of the empire in there, or sorry, a general of the empire, rolling a test on 3d6. Like it's gonna hold. And a 4 armor save is not nothing. I think greatswords are a solid choice. Demigryph Knights are another solid choice, a new one for this book. 58 points a model for Monsters Cav. So you have an Inner Circle Knight riding a big half Griffin without wings, basically. So a Demigryph has movement 8, strength 5, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks, leadership 7. So you have a 1-up armor set. Well, I mean, if you buy a... So these are 2 weapon options. Yeah, okay. So you can have a halberd or a lance on the Inner Circle Knights. With a lance, when they're gonna have 1-up armor save, which I think you always should do, because you don't need the halberd. And the Demigryph's going to do much of the work after you don't charge. After the turn you're not charging. So they cause fear, and I believe Demigryphs have the attacks of the Demigryph are armor piercing. So these are a unit, because they're monstrous cavalry, they can be in a larger base, and cavalry doesn't really do well in 8th edition typically, but they're only 58 points a model. Like, honestly, for what you're getting, 58 points is a bargain. I keep them small. The squad size is 3+, but I think you have to buy them in packs of 2, which is unfortunate, because I don't really like the squad size of 4. I think it's a little big, a little unwieldy. Plus you lose... Wow, it doesn't matter either way, actually. But either way, a squad of 3 as a flanking unit, just don't get overly aggressive with them, I think is a solid choice for these guys. Reiksguard Knights, they're basically Inner Circle Knights that are from the Reiksguard. The same stats, 27 points a model. How much are regular Knights? 22, so plus 3 for Inner Circle, so 2 points more by Reiksguard Knights in the special slot. The gain stubborn. Could be good, not necessarily necessary. Maybe it is, I'm not sure. Actually, I wonder if that 2 extra. If your core is filled, I would probably spend 2 points. If you already spent your minimum allotment on core, I would probably recommend spending the 2 extra points per model to give them stubborn. It gives you a lot more flexibility of the way you're going to use them. Huntsmen are an upgraded archer unit. They have the skirmishers with a bow, and they have scout for 1 point more per model. They're 8 points a model. Is scout that important? It can be. It can be. If you can use them to... Yeah, it definitely... If there's terrain you can hide in midfield or close to your opponent's deployment zone, their job is to slow the enemy down while your artillery and your mass firepower slows down the enemy. So if you have points to spare, Huntsmen are not a terrible choice, because, get up the field, stand right in front of the enemy, and make them charge you or not move for a turn. Totally worth it. Pistoliers are your fast cab choice. They have a brace of pistol and light armor. 18 points a model. I love everything about fast cav. Now, these fast cav only have leadership 7, so I'd recommend buying a musician for sure. So you can rally on leadership 8 when you run away. But yeah, Pistoliers, especially if you want to go guns heavy. It takes a little work mastering fast cav and mastering all the movement stuff of Warhammer 8th edition, but I recommend getting yourself a couple units of them. The same kit can also make you Outriders at 21 points per model. They come with repeater handguns, and they are ballistic skill 4 base, 5 on the sergeant. The sharpshooter, as they call them. The repeater handguns are move or fire, but you have a vanguard move, so you get to move and reposition turn 1. And it doesn't count as moving. So you can almost guarantee your guns in range and line of sight turn 1 with Vanguard. So it's a common tactic to see Outriders 1 or 2 units on the flanks, Vanguard into a better position, and that's where they stick for the entire game and just keep firing their handguns. Repeater handguns, which are... Is it multiple shot 3? Repeater handguns, yeah, multiple shot 3. Yeah, they're going to throw a ton of dice at you. The Sergeant can take a brace of repeating pistols or the grenade launching blunderbuss. I would recommend, because of fast cav, I would recommend... Oh, you can buy Barding at 1 point per model. Oh, if they buy Barding, they lose fast cav. Okay, see, I wouldn't bother. Because they're going to get charged. You don't want to flee. Then you want to have a musician rally, get back into the fight. You're not going to fire that turn, but, I mean, ultimately, so the repeater handguns are going to either draw attention or they're going to get ignored, and then there's going to be a turn where, as your opponent is getting close to your lines of your guns, before you send in your Helmeteers, your repeater handguns are not going to shoot that turn. They're going to do their final one march out and do the last turn of blocking or redirecting. So I think, I don't know, Outriders, I think I would use them all the time, every game. So you Vanguard out, start brat, brat, brat. Either they're going to do a lot of work or they're going to take a lot of firepower back. And then turn 3, turn 4, if they're still alive and your opponent's getting close to your lines, that's when they march out and do the one last block for you. And then you fire again, or then you charge in with your Halberdiers. So Pistoliers and Outriders, so good. Great Cannons, 120 points. It's a cannon. Nothing to say about it. It's a cannon. It's 120 points. It's a cannon. You probably have 2 or 3 of these in your list. You also have a Mortar for 100 points. It's the Mortar, if I remember correctly, got nerfed this edition. That's why we don't see it too often. Okay, I'm gonna find him. Artillery. Okay, yeah, Mortar's minimum range 12, 40-inch range max. Flares like a stone thrower, but use a large round template. It's armor piercing, multiple wounds D3 for the center hole. If it misfires, use the black powder misfire chart, and it's strength 2, 6 under the hole. Now, I don't know. I would rather be strength 3 and use a small template. I think your cannon just does better for. It's hard to say. I don't have a lot of experience with the Mortars. I'm not. Because of the points you're spending on it and the slot it's competing for, I just think I'd rather spend the points elsewhere. But comment below if you think the Mortar is worth it in 8th edition, if you like it. I'm not. I don't think it's useless. I just think there's only so many points in the list, and it's gonna be one of the. If I add one to my list, it's gonna be like the first thing I cut. Okay. Last is the Flagellants for 12 points a model. I think these are good, but they are expensive infantry. Human stat line. They come with a flail, but they're unbreakable for 12 points a model. They also have Frenzy. I love the models. I love the idea of them. You gotta protect them, make sure they don't get shot to death. They're expensive at 12 points a model. They have a rule called the end is nigh. What it used to do, if I remember correctly, they used to like, yeah. So the end is nigh. The unit of Flagellants is in base contact with the enemy at the start of the close combat phase. The Flagellants immediately suffer D6 strength for 3 hits. Interesting. That damage does count towards combat resolution. Remember, they are themselves unbreakable. If at least one model is removed as a martyr, that's what happens when you take damage. The remaining models need to immediately gain 1 special effect from the list below. You roll die. You roll 1, you get to reroll the hit. 2 to 3, reroll the hit and to wound. On a 4+, +1 toughness, and reroll all failed to hit and to wound. It's kind of powerful. It's kind of really good. Oh, this is an interesting one. If you made them cheaper, they'd be too good. But they're on the high side. I'd do it. I would totally do it. I don't know how. Yeah, I would do it. big horde of flagellants coming at you. Now keep in mind, they want to fight by themselves because they're gonna, well, yeah, they're gonna die. They're gonna die for sure. Toughness 3, no save. They're gonna die. But yeah, they're gonna kill. They're gonna kill. That is it for special. We have still quite a bit to go through. Even though this tends to be this is gonna be a little bit shorter than the other ones, I think. Okay, we have rare. We have the Hell Blaster Volley gun. This is your really good war machine. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to the page and try to find it. I think it's on this page. Ah, I found it. Hell Blaster Volley gun. It is range 24, strength 5, armor piercing, and it has a lot of barrels. To fire the Hell Blaster Volley gun, select a target according to the normal rules for shooting, and then roll 3 artillery dice. If 1 artillery dice is misfire, something has jammed, and have the results of the remaining 2 dice. Okay, so you roll the 3 artillery dice. Whatever the total is how many shots you're going to fire. If one of them is a misfire, you have the amount of shots the remaining 2 dice. If 2 of them are misfire, you roll d6 and consult the black powder misfire chart. If all 3 are misfire, you do maximum 30 shots, and then it blows up. Now, this is where you want your engineer. He's going to give them better ballistic skill, using his ballistic skill to fire all these guns, and the ability to reroll a misfire die. Strength 5 armor piercing, ballistic skill 4 with the master engineer. Solid. It can completely wipe out chaff or even knight units, and take hefty chunks of the hordes, right? The Hellstorm rocket battery is made from the same kit. Also 120 points. Hellstorm rocket battery. It's range 48. It has strength 3/3, so 3 under the hole, 3 otherwise, and it's armor piercing. It doesn't. Okay, so when firing the Hellstorm rocket battery, first roll D3. This is the number of rockets fired in that salvo. Next, place a small round template over the target you're going to fire at, and you fire like a stone thrower. Roll a single artillery dice to a number of scatter dice equal to the number of rockets in the salvo. If the artillery dice is or misfire, roll d6 and consult a black fire or black powder. And then move the template a number of inches equal to the result on the artillery dice in that direction. Note that Hellstorm rockets are so inaccurate they always count as being fired indirectly. So even if it can fire at a line of sight. When the when the final position of the template is known, resolve hits as if you would for a stone thrower at strength 3/3. If there are any scatter dice yet unresolved, return the template to its original position, choose the unresolved scatter die, and resolve the shots. Wait a second. Someone's missing here. Why am I rolling 3d6? Roll an artillery dice and a number of scatter dice. Oh, and a number of scatter dice. So each one scatters individually. Okay. It's actually not bad. Brought you water. Okay. So it is a stone thrower that fires D3 times. You fire at a line of sight, and the hit under the hole is only strength 3 instead of strength 9. So you trade off the big direct hit looking monster killing blast for even better infantry killing. So it's kind of better in 9th edition than you would expect. But can misfire 3 times many times. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I rather have cannons and Hellblaster volley guns and steam tanks. And we're at steam tanks next. Steam tanks, 250 points. Its movement is random. Its strength and toughness 6, 10 wounds, 1 up armor save. It has a little engineer inside. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the rules of this thing. So basically, it is a behemoth. It is a moving tank in the fantasy world with a cannon on front and a steam gun. So it's good. It's amazing. 1 or 2 is going to be in every competitive list, using up your entire rare slots. Now, there is a reason to not, and we'll talk about that next, because it's the next thing, because we'll get to that in a second. It's a chariot with 1 up armor save, but how it works is you have to generate steam points. I'm not going to read all the rules. It's not complicated, but there's a lot to read. You generate steam points, and then you roll artillery die. You might misfire you just start the turn before you declare charges. And you see how many steam points you actually collect inside of the steam tank. You can generate up to 5. Maybe it's more. No, it's 5. And then you can use a steam point to move. For example, if I use 3, you only ever use 3 per phase, I believe. Not important. If I use 3 in the movement phase, you pivot the steam tank direction you want to go, and you move forward 3d6 inches, counting as charges to make it in. If you want to use the steam points to fire your cannon, you can put the first marker 12 inches away for every steam point you use. So you can fire 12 inches in front of you for 1 steam point. You can fire 24 inches in front of you for 2 steam points. You get how that goes. And then you can use the steam point to use the steam gun, which is a template weapon, pretty good in combat as well. But it's strength 2 for 1 steam point. If you put 2 steam points into it, it becomes strength 3. Not a bad thing. It does cause terror. It is unbreakable. You have a Hawkman long rifle on the engineering side. It is a solid thing. It is a solid thing. The only reason why I wouldn't sometimes competitively bring 2. Bring the lore of life, keep healing it back up. The only reason why to not bring 2 competitively is because you also want to bring the Celestial Hurricanum, which is a solid thing. So if you're playing 2,000 points, you can't fit in your rare allotment 2 steam tanks and a Hurricanum, but if you play more points, you can. Like 2,500 points. Okay, so the Hurricanum is only 130 points. It's a chariot with 5 wounds and strength and toughness 5. It has a 5-up armor save. It has a bunch of things, and we'll go over them right now. Large target. The focus of Vizier. If you have 1 or more Hurricanes in the battlefield at the start of your magic phase, you get 1 more dice to your power. So 1 more power dice added to your pool. Pretty good right there. The Hurricanum and all friendly units within 6 have a +1 bonus to hit. That right there is why this is so good. You put this next to your Halberdiers, or within 6 your Halberdier horde, that are going to now be hitting almost everything on 3s. Re-rolling with Hatred, maybe. Strength 4 re-rolling because you did the Hammer Sigmar thing. Like, it is making that cheap horde you have better. Because honestly, you're humans, you're not that good. But you add all the buffs like the Warrior Priest and Hurricanum, that unit's starting to get scary. It comes with its own innate bound spell, the Storm of Shemtek. It's a power level 4, 24-inch range. Small round template, scatters d6, and you can salt the chart. Whatever. It does things. If you roll 6 on the chart, it counts as strength hit d6 damage under the whole of the template. Otherwise, it's strength 8. So it's like a Stone Thrower Light. If you cast a spell, roll randomly, and then get a 6. And there's some other cool things too, but that's not why you're bringing it. You're bringing it because the +1 to hit is worth 130 points through and through. There's another version of it called the Luminark of Hish. This gives a 6-up ward save to all friendly units within 6. And it adds +1 dice to your dispel pool. It has its own innate bound spell called Solheim's Bolt of Illumination. It's a magic missile, range of 36. It causes a strength 8 hit that has multiple wounds d3 and flaming attack. And it fires like a bolt thrower. Problem is, it's using your power dice. I think I did say this in my previous review. The thing with bound spells are in 8th edition is you're typically either throwing too many dice at it, trying to get a miscast that doesn't have any side effect because it's an 8, or you're rolling not enough dice and it gets dispelled. So I don't really the bound spells, these things aren't that great. Now there is another one I didn't talk about. I figured we talk about it a little bit later on, but I think I just missed it. So the War Altar of Sigmar is an upgrade you can buy for a Warrior Priest. It's a chariot. It comes with its own and 4-up ward save. And if I remember correctly, I want to say this thing costs 200 points to upgrade. I'm going to double check. Archlector, War Altar. No, it's 150 points. So you gain a chariot with a 4-up ward save, and it has Stubborn. But all friendly Empire units have Hatred while they're within 6 inches of the chariot of the War Altar. That is amazing. The power of Sigmar, any battle prayers cast by the Archlector affect all friendly units within 6, and not just the War Altar. And it has the giant golden Griffin on it, which comes with an 8 bound spell, which is banishment. Yeah, banishment from the lore of light. So there's a light council option here. You bring a bunch of light wizards, that make that spell significantly better. If you know the lore light, the banishment spell for every light wizard with I think 12 increases the strength of the damage. I don't have the core rule book here, but if I remember correctly, it is 2d6 strength 4 hits and then plus 1 strength for every light wizard within 12. So you can get really high strength hits. Oh, I think you have to reroll ward saves too with the banishment spell if you take any ward saves. So it's called the Light Council. You just throw 6 dice at the War Altar on the banishment spell. Solid choice there, and often seen that competitively as well. It is vulnerable to cannons, but it has its own 4 ward save, so... Okay, so we did it. We went through all the units. I think this is one of the better looking armies in my opinion. The model range is amazing. You have a bunch of different paint schemes you can do. A lot of this army is still available to purchase, and some of it's not. Like all your knights are no longer available, but you can find other alternatives. Okay, let's talk about heirlooms of magic. The Rune Fang. I can't remember how many there are lore-wise. There's 1 Rune Fang for every province in the Empire, or every state. 85 points. All hits from a Rune Fang hit automatically and wound automatically. Nope. I knew what I said was wrong as I was saying it, because it's never changed. What I was trying to say was that they wound automatically with no armor saves. The Mace of Hellstorm for 50 points. Always strikes last. 2 hands, plus 2 strength. It's a great weapon. Instead of attacking normally, the bearer can forfeit all of his normal attacks to make a single attack, which has the always strike last special rule. If the attack hits, it's resolved as strength 10 and has both flaming and multiple wounds D3. Okay. I don't like it. Armor of Meteoric Iron, 50 points. You get a 1-up armor save that can't be improved by any means, and gives you a 6-up ward save. It's not a bad thing for protecting, say, a BSB or a warrior priest. Helm of the Skaven Slayer for 15 points. It's a helmet. You challenge your armor being 1 point higher than normal. Not bad. And you cause fear to Skaven. No! You get +1 armor save and you cause fear. Not bad. You cause terror to Skaven. But all Skaven gain hatred against the wearer of the Helm of the Skaven Slayer. The White Cloak of Ulrich for 50 points. Enemies in base contact with the bearer are -1 to all hit rolls. Ooh, not just against the guy wearing the cloak. That's pretty good. In addition, the bearer has a 5-up ward save and increase it 2+ against flaming attacks. I like it. Then Horseman Speculum. The wearer fights in any challenge. He must swap strength, toughness, initiative, attack characteristics with the enemy he's in the challenge with. That's actually pretty good. Note that you cannot choose to not use the Speculum. Okay, so if you're gonna get against Warriors of Chaos, for example, they have to challenge or stuff like that. You just take it with a person. Ooh, a warrior priest or archlector have mediocre combat stats. You just swap and take their really good stats, and you give them your really bad stats, and hopefully you win the challenge. Ring of Volans is 30 points. 1 use only, bound spell. At the beginning of the game, choose one of the 8 lores of magic from the rulebook. And then generate this 1 spell as if you're a level 1 wizard. And it can be cast it's bound in the ring. Oh, it's 1 use only. So you count as casting that spell once at the casting value of the spell. Not bad for 30 points. Griffin Standard for 60 points. I already don't like it. I don't even know what it does. I can't stand any of the banners that have to go in the BSB. Any unit joined by a character bearing the Griffin banner doubles any combat result bonus granted for having extra ranks. However, a character carrying the Griffin banner and his unit cannot pursue a fleeing enemy and must hold the ground instead. I don't. So you can get up to +6. No, you're not gonna get. No. So you can get up to +6 combat resolution. But no, you're gonna lose models fast. You're only humans. You're not gonna get the combat resolution. You can't chase them down. No. This is all kinds of no. Steel Standard for 35 points. Oh, okay. You ignore the penalty for barding on your knights. So you move a full 8 inches, and you get to reroll 1s when charging. Not bad. Not the best magic items, not the worst. But, I mean, as you saw in this book, you can do many different playstyles. Whether it's shooting, melee, magic, Cav. I think I covered them all. Pure infantry spam, stuff like that. I think Empire is not one of the more powerful books, but I mean, if you skew into its power, you can get some work done with it. So my recommendation is a couple units of Halberdiers, one steam tank, one, this is talking 2,000 points, one Luminark, no, not Luminark, Hurricanum, one Hurricanum, two cannons, Outriders, Pistoliers, Archlectors, a Battle Center Bear, and any points you got left over, more Pistoliers. And there you go. Empire, one of the best looking armies in the game. Models mostly still available. Thanks for watching this one. It was shorter. Stay tuned for more. There's a couple more left to do. There's Demons of Chaos, and then there is Dark Elves, and then we're going to probably do some special characters, and then we might move on to a different edition of books, but we'll go from there. Thanks for watching this one, guys. Happy wargaming.